Have you ever wondered how our ancestors managed to preserve food before the invention of refrigeration? The answer lies in some fascinating methods that are still in use today. Let's delve into a dozen terms related to food preservation, their explanations, and examples. Our first term is to preserve. This means to keep food fresh for a longer time. Take this example. Grandma preserves strawberries by sealing them in jars with sugar syrup. Sounds delicious, doesn't it? Next up, we have to dehydrate. This involves removing water from food to prevent spoilage. For instance, Sarah dehydrates apples by slicing them thin and drying them in the sun. The third term is to pickle. This method entails preserving food in a solution of vinegar, salt, and spices. For example, Mom pickles cucumbers with dill and garlic to make crunchy dill pickles. The fourth term on our list is to brine. This means to soak food in a solution of salt and water to preserve and add flavor. An example is when Dad brines turkey in a saltwater solution before roasting it for Thanksgiving. Now let's talk about to smoke. This is a process of preserving and flavoring food by exposing it to smoke from burning wood or herbs. The chef, for instance, smokes salmon to give it a rich, smoky flavor. The sixth term is to can. This is a method to preserve food by sealing it in airtight containers, usually jars or cans, like when we can tomatoes from our garden to enjoy them all year round. Our seventh term is to ferment. This involves preserving food by allowing it to undergo a natural process of bacterial or yeast fermentation. Kimchi, for example, is made by fermenting cabbage with salt and spices. Moving on, we have to sterilize. This means to kill bacteria and other microorganisms to prevent spoilage. An example is when we sterilize jars by boiling them in hot water before canning. Our ninth term is to infuse. This involves steeping food in a liquid such as oil or vinegar to impart flavor. Olive oil, for instance, is infused with herbs and spices for a flavorful salad dressing. The 10th term is to cellar. This means to store food in a cool, dark place such as a cellar to prolong its freshness. Potatoes, for example, are often stored in a cellar to keep them from sprouting. Our penultimate term is to cure. This method of preserving food often involves a combination of salt and either air drying, smoking, or brining. Take this example. Grandma cures ham by rubbing it with a mixture of salt and spices, then hanging it in the smokehouse to dry for several weeks. And finally, we have to salt. This method involves preserving food by adding salt to it, commonly used for meats, fish, and vegetables. For instance, the chef salts the fish fillets before grilling them to enhance their flavor and preserve their moisture. So, to recap, we've learned about preserving, dehydrating, pickling, brining, smoking, canning, fermenting, sterilizing, infusing, cellaring, curing, and salting. These age-old techniques have been keeping our food fresh and tasty for centuries, and they're still very much in use today.